The survival horror genre is one of my favorites. It's hard to believe it was 1996 now when I first explored the pre-rendered mansion corridors of Resident Evil. Bad full motion video, terrible acting, tank controls, those were the days. Well, in some cases, those still are the days, but no denying it, even if it wasn't the original pioneer of this genre, it's certainly a landmark title and one almost any gamer of the 90s will never forget. Since then, survival horror's come a long way, hasn't it? We've had more psychological takes on the genre, like in the original Silent Hill trilogy. In more recent times, PT has inspired first-person scares, and in the indie space, games such as Outlast, Amnesia, and Carrion have taken the genre into bold and exciting new directions, while never quite letting go of what made us love these games in the first place. With SIGNALIS, developer Rose Engine borrows a bit from column A and B, crafting a bleak science fiction horror masterpiece with mind-bending puzzles, a simplistic yet engaging combat system, and plenty of scares from both a top-down third-person perspective and first-person view. From the opening moments of the game, where you find yourself within a crashed ship on a mysterious planet, the narrative draws players in. It's oppressive, a bit lonely, and yet, unlike this year's Scorn, gives the sense of wonderment, mystery, and intrigue that so many of the classics are successful at. SIGNALIS doesn't drum players over the head, nor does it come off as pretentious. All you really know is you've woken up in a strange place, a crashed ship, and you're looking for someone that you really care about for some reason. A lot of this story is going to be told through memos, but you will come across a few of the remaining androids, which the game refers to as replicas. Elster, the game's lead character, serves this tale well, and the rich 3D environments and animations only further heighten your experience. Atmosphere and rich, exciting storytelling are great, but all is squandered if a game isn't fun to play. Thankfully, SIGNALIS also delivers in the gameplay department. Combat has you using a variety of different weapons to carefully aim down foes, shoot them, and then rush in to put them out of their misery. It's effective enough, though stealth can also be an option. If you aren't much for a challenge, the game also offers a casual mode that will make combat scenarios a bit less exhilarating, but they will be far more accessible. Enemies won't necessarily stay dead, that is unless you torch their asses. On top of this, you also have one-time use batons, so there is a decent variety in how you approach this combat system. Players will need to carefully manage resources and be on the lookout for save rooms. These will kind of remind you of the old days, but you won't need ink ribbons here. However, they do have storage boxes, and these are important for offloading items. And yet, while the combat is enjoyable enough in SIGNALIS, it's really not the heart of this game, rather that lies in its puzzle design. Whether you rely on your radio to decode cryptic messages or you balance water levels, SIGNALIS is unrelenting in its puzzles, many of which left me completely stumped. You might spend upward to 10, 15, 20, hell, maybe even 30 minutes on a puzzle depending on your skill level, but they are really smart. I wasn't getting pissed off like I do in a lot of other puzzle games. They were logical, they just required thought and maybe your camera too to take a few pictures. Regardless, let it be known, there are lots and lots of puzzles and a good amount of running around collecting keys in this game, so if you're not into that type of exploration and you really don't like puzzles in your horror games, this one will not be for you. I also have to say, to go back to the inventory system for just a moment, it is a little bit clunky, though manageable. I did stumble about the game's menus at times, but again, these nitpicks ultimately weren't enough to derail my experience. The breathtaking environments littered with death and the ever so faint hint of life that once was, the satisfaction, that aha moment when a puzzle just clicks, and the chilling first-person segments coupled with hazy, well-designed anime-style cutscenes are what I'll remember most about this experience. There's a chilling soundtrack that lurks in the background, only to explode in a fashion similar to Silent Hill, wherein you encounter an enemy. And the boss encounters, quite thrilling, though not all that frequent. I was just delighted to explore each new corridor, though some of them do look similar, yes, not a huge deal. There's a map system in this game as well that's just brilliant. It gives you a good understanding of where you've been and where you need to go next, so you won't feel too hung up. Even though the puzzles are tough, you're generally going to have a good sense of which direction you should be heading. From top to bottom, SIGNALIS is a masterful work of art, an easy Golden Genie Lamp winner, and a stunning accomplishment from a talented indie team.